LG has never really been known for making top-notch smartphones, and this year they hope to change that with their latest flagship device, the G2. But does it live up to their expectations? I'm Hayato At from Tech4Geeks, and after spending a month with the device, this is our full review on the LG G2. Now before we begin, I'd like to take a second to thank our friends at Moby City for providing us with this device. You can check out all their deals on the latest smartphones and tablets at mobycity.com. From the moment you pick up the G2, it's immediately clear that it's not your typical smartphone. Looking at the face of the device, it's almost completely devoid of bezels around the huge 5.2-inch 1080p IPS LCD display. This translates into an immersive experience when operating the phone, and with a display like this one, that's exactly what you want. LG is no stranger to screen manufacturing, and from sharpness to color reproduction, we found the G2's display to be one of the best we've ever used. Above that display is the earpiece speaker and 2.1 megapixel front-facing camera, and beneath is only the LG logo. On top of the device is the IR blaster and noise-canceling microphone, and lining the bottom are the stereo speakers, headphone jack, and micro USB port. Looking around the sides, you won't find anything but the ejectable micro SIM tray, as one of the headlining features of the G2 is that its only buttons lie on the back of the device. Panning to the back, those buttons are aligned downwards with the raised power button sitting between two volume buttons. It's sort of awkward at first and takes some getting used to, but I was pretty comfortable using the rear mounted buttons with my index finger after about an hour or two with the phone. Sitting above the buttons is the G2's outstanding 13 megapixel camera paired with its LED flash, floating atop a high-gloss, non-removable plastic backing. Yes, it feels every bit as oily and gross as Samsung's Galaxy S4. The curved design of the phone and the ergonomic button positioning makes the G2 very comfortable in the hand, and the slim bezels make it amazingly small considering the screen size. Our only real issue when operating the device was how flush the volume buttons on the back are. Too often I found myself accidentally smudging the camera when adjusting volume levels. Thankfully, the quick window, one of LG's first-party accessories, makes it a little easier to feel for. Now the G2 has absolutely outstanding specs. LG really went all out on this one, throwing in some of the very finest mobile technology into their latest flagship. The heart of the G2 is a quad-core Snapdragon 800 processor clocked at 2.26 GHz. Handling graphics rendering is an Adreno 330 GPU, and powering the device is a non-removable 3000 mAh battery. You also get 16 or 32 gigabytes of non-expandable internal storage, and the increasingly popular Wi-Fi 802.11 ABGNAC. Though the spec war isn't something we're a fan of, the G2's stats definitely put it towards the top of the list, alongside other devices like the Galaxy Note 3 and the Sony Xperia Z1. But what does all this equate to with regards to what's really important, the end-user experience? The G2 is one of the fastest, smoothest Android devices currently on the market. It very rarely stutters or lags, though we won't say never. Switching between apps is extremely fast, and flipping through home screens doesn't faze the phone. It's clear that the software and hardware were optimized for each other, and we really like that. The G2 utilizes virtual on-screen buttons for navigating through the software, which can be customized to fit your preferences. LG also included the knock-on feature, which allows you to double-tap the screen when off to turn it on, and vice versa. That's something I'm a really big fan of, and with the unconventional button placement, I think it was a really smart move. Sadly, that's about where our likes for the software end. The G2 runs a very heavily skinned version of Android 4.2.2, and it's a skin we're not at all fond of. Every bit of Android has been redesigned in LG's UI, and none for the better. Change for the sake of changing, not improving. Pulling down the notification shade reveals an absolute mess filled with quick toggles, adjustment sliders, and LG's Q-Slide applications. It's like opening Internet Explorer at grandma's house and seeing the mess of toolbars, and it fills up just as quickly. Similarly, the Settings app is the same tabbed mess you'd find on the Galaxy S4, and that's a pretty recurring theme on the G2. From the home screen to the camera UI, LG's UI seems to be a direct port of Samsung's TouchWiz. Thankfully, the saving grace of the G2 is its camera. With a 13 megapixel sensor, 1080p video recording at 60 frames per second, and optical image stabilization, it's easily one of the best shooters on the Android scene. Though the viewfinder software is a bit crowded, shots almost always turn out clear and vivid, even with default settings. There's everything here, from full-frame panoramas to action shots. A favorite feature of mine is the ability to manually adjust focus. Images captured are nicely saturated, though sometimes almost too saturated. Low light performance leaves a bit to be desired, but still performed better than most other Android devices. Thanks to the G2's optical image stabilization, video turns out smooth and in focus, even in poorly lit situations. Sadly, it's not the same case with audio, which turns out tinny and easily distorts with high volumes. Battery life was consistently great on the G2, largely thanks to its 3000 mAh battery. In my month of testing, it almost always lasted me throughout my day, coming off the charger around 9:30 each morning and plugging back in around midnight with about 10% left over after moderate to heavy usage. At the end of the day, the G2 is an amazing phone held back by its software. The nearly non-existent bezel, Snapdragon 800 SoC, and rear-facing hardware buttons make it a unique and intuitive device, but LG's rethinking of Android really ruined my experience with all kinds of wasted space and half-baked features. Still, it's one of the fastest devices out there with a superb display and excellent battery life, so it's up to you to decide what's most important to you. Sadly to me, the G2 is just another disappointing LG product among many. That wraps it up for this video review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit the thumbs up below and subscribe to our channel for more tech content like this. Share your thoughts on the G2 in the comments and let us know what you'd like to see us review next. You can also follow us on the various social networks linked in the description. Once again, I'm Hayato At. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.